With this session update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. Surrounded by lawmakers of both parties and citizen advocate and sexual assault survivor Jenny Teeson, Governor Walz signed a bill into law that repeals the marital rape defense. Here's that bill signing ceremony.
Well, hello everyone. We are moments away from officially repealing a statute that does a disservice to justice. The bill the governor is about to sign repeals a statute that protects against the prosecution of some criminal sexual conduct offenses committed against a partner in an ongoing voluntary relationship. Minnesota will no longer have this antiquated law on the books, and this bill is a testament to the hard work of victims, survivors, and advocates. The group of legislators you see up here were critical partners in making this happen, but I want to take a moment to really recognize and lift up Jenny Teeson. Jenny shared a deeply personal story time and time again in an effort to make Minnesota a more just place for survivors of sexual assault. The amount of courage and bravery that it takes cannot be understated. And I want to thank you for the work that you've done around this issue and for being here today. It really matters. Everyone, everyone experiences and responds to sexual violence differently. And the systems that respond to victims and survivors must be able to engage and support all victims and survivors in meaningful ways. This bill brings us closer to ensuring Minnesotans have access to justice and ultimately to healing. But we must continue to make meaningful changes and improvements to ensure victims and survivors have the tools and resources they need to heal, to enhance our criminal justice system and the statutes that system relies on. We are incredibly eager to repeal this unnecessary and unjust statute and want to thank all of you for being here. And with that, I want to introduce Representative Stevenson.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and thank you all for being here. Today, we make history for Minnesota as we move our laws out of the 19th century and recognize that all Minnesotans deserve to be safe regardless of who they're married to. And in addition to the people who are standing with us here today, I want to thank and recognize Speaker Melissa Hortman, without whose leadership we would not be here today. She's been a tireless champion on this issue, and we're just very lucky for her leadership. We're also extremely lucky to have the leadership of Jenny Teeson, who has been with us each and every step of the way. We would not have gotten this done without her bravery and courageous leadership for the people of Minnesota. Everyone deserves to be safe. Jenny Teeson has helped make that happen today. And with that, I'll introduce Senator Michelle Benson.
Good morning. My journey to this place started with a meeting with Senator John Hoffman and Jenny's dad, Jerry, who's right behind us. And he started telling the story of the injustice that Jenny was going through, and I thought this can't be possible in Minnesota. And in fact, it was. And so actually, Speaker Hortman and I first carried this bill in the last session and weren't able to bring it across the line to a signing ceremony like this today. But Representative Stephenson and my co-authors in the Senate picked this up and brought it again to me. And then Jenny started telling her story, a difficult story, over and over again until everyone listened. And this is about to become a foundational change in Minnesota because of her tragedy and her courage and our ability to participate in part of what I hope will be healing. So I am so grateful to have the privilege of being here and to be part of a signing ceremony that you made happen. And with that, Jenny Teeson.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you to everyone who's standing behind me, to Senator Benson, to Representative Zach Stevenson, to Speaker Melissa Hortman, who helped carry this last year, to the governor and lieutenant governor. Thank you for your support through questions, through the media. Just knowing that you were ready to sign it when it came to you was so exciting and just kept me going. So I want to thank you for that. This journey has definitely been a long one, and today is a pivotal moment in Minnesota history. Today, victims, former victims, and people who are still in very difficult situations can know that if they are in an unsafe place and an uncomfortable place and things are happening to them, that if they do go to the authorities, that justice will be served. Justice was not served for me. It took a lot of courage to build the strength up to call the sheriffs, to inform them of what my ex-husband had been doing to me. He's the father of my children, but I knew it was wrong, and I knew years of things going on behind the scenes had to stop. And I feel very honored that I have the strength and the courage to be here and to continue to tell my story. I can't thank the media enough for continuing to expose this archaic law that many didn't know about. So thank you for sharing the story. I also have heard that we're making waves nationally in other states. To me, that goes beyond anything I could have imagined with this bill, that I had a goal to set out to work with all the everyone in Minnesota to come to fruition today. So I just want to thank you all for continuing to share my story. Oh, a couple other thank yous. I can't thank my village enough. Truly, it is by having the support of the people behind me. Of course, my mom and dad, who have been by my side through everything. We've got people from the Alexandra House who sat in the courthouse with me as I tried to navigate the very difficult criminal system that I had no idea about. And I also have some friends, lifelong friends in the room with me here today. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you to everyone behind me. I truly felt like you've had my back throughout this entire process, and I always felt welcome coming into each room to testify. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Governor Walz. Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, thank you all for being here. You saw courage, strength, persistence, and you get to witness it today with Jenny, grace and dignity in an incredibly difficult situation. The accomplishment to this goes to Jenny for the persistence of making it happen. A victim of assault, not only a courageous survivor, but a courageous citizen advocate who came to this building and went through the process and says never again to anyone else. That takes an incredible focus. And I'm always, when I'm standing in the presence of it, of watching someone turn tragedy and a horrific incident into something positive for others that you don't even know, is a real act of selfless service. No longer will those sexually assaulted by others be allowed to claim a defense of voluntary relationship. No longer will this antiquated and shameful law be on our books. To the legislators who've worked so long on this, thank you. Thank you for listening to a constituent. Thank you for picking up and taking what needed to be done. Thank you again for understanding our system is sometimes slow and clunky, and Senator Benson for not allowing it to stop last year and to bringing it back again until we get it across the line. That's when we're at our best. The concept of a pre-existing relationship defense should have never been part of our criminal statutes. It's reprehensible, and because of Jenny, it is now going to be repealed. It's done.
Folks, we'll have time for some brief on-topic Q&A.
If there are any questions on topic, you can direct them to any up here, and as you see, Jenny's prepared to answer.
Jenny, are you in a safe place now?
I am, yes. I will definitely say there's, some concerns because he still lives locally, but yes, I'm in a safe place with my children.
Governor, can you tell us if bill signings are ever getting old for you yet?
No, and in a serious note, the incredible sense of what we do as citizens and as we self-govern, and to watch the process work. And again, I oftentimes feel somewhat apologetic that it takes this long, but our system is set up the way it is, and it's gratifying to me to see bipartisan legislators come here to do the right thing, and they stayed through this whole process. And you watch a citizen who was clearly wrong by a system that needed to be fixed, and these bill signings always seem to me to be the manifestation of that towards a more perfect union. We're not there yet, but our state's a little better today because of that work.
Would Jenny's folks have anything to say about what this means to you?
As Jenny said, this has been an incredible journey. We are so proud, that's an understatement, of our daughter, the courage it took to come forward and to see this through. And when she shared in her story in the testifying in front of the committees, when she woke up the morning after the charges were dismissed, because in Minnesota, third-degree felony charges he couldn't be charged. She said, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a change. And she did. It took a lot. It took a lot of courage, and like she said, she has an incredible village of people behind her. We're so proud of our daughter. She changed the world.
Yeah. Jenny, was there a moment that you realized that your story was making an impact on people in this building? Was there a moment that stood out to you?
Yeah, there was. After I did when I testified in the House for the first time, I had no idea what was going to take place that day. That was the first time really sharing my story publicly. The only other time I had shared that was when I read my victim impact statement in court when he was charged with invasion of privacy. And coming out of that room and actually being reached out by you and a couple of others in here and asking questions, and then going home that night and seeing my story on TV and knowing that the word was going to get out was really a pivotal moment, and knowing that this was going to get some traction. So, yeah.
Jenny, is this a message to citizens that the process can work? Politics is always called so dysfunctional. Is this faith? Do you tell people you can come to the Capitol and affect change?
Yes. I've got 2 small kids, and I've said I believe in schools. Our schools are great, but if you want to get schooled in politics, come spend some time down here. And really be in the room where it happens. Be in those rooms while people are testifying. And that is what I've learned through this process, and why I continue to say I just feel so blessed to have the strength to do it, because being down here and having those conversations, I can tell you some of the LAs were probably pretty darn sick of my emails and phone calls, and me just driving down here and standing and said I'll happily wait 5 hours if it means I can have a conversation with someone. I was willing to do that. And so, yes, to everyone out there, if you believe in something and you know something isn't just, start moving. Persistence truly does pay off.
Yeah.
One more question.
Jenny, you mentioned this is making waves in other states. Have you planned to do any other advocacy outside of Minnesota?
So I actually had a conversation with a woman out of Ohio with the Associated Press later last week and then earlier this week. And absolutely, if my story will help others, yes, an advocacy in many different routes. Right now I'm still in the process of finalizing my divorce on the children's side, and that's very daunting, but I know that I have a platform and a voice, and I want to be able to let others know. And I know it was one of the earlier speakers had said, making sure, I think it was you, Lieutenant Governor, is everyone who is a victim of assault and abuse processes it differently, and to be able to have the tools available for all those different types of people. And for me, it has been very comforting to be able to speak out because I was quiet for so long. So yes, you can make a difference.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.